1,000 years under this Australian sun, the Aborigines have been at peace with nature as one. But then white men arrived with disease in the gun and claimed this land that apparently belonged to no one. Indigenous families lost their daughters and sons, stolen to be white, every child was made to become. While their mothers were raped, fathers were killed for fun, under the British ownership like the municipal gum. Until the 60s they were classed as flora and fauna, and treated like animals to be shoved in the corner. So blacks were displaced, decayed the slave trade, kids taken away and made to assimilate. Cultural genocide in the name of the Christian faith. Government tried to cover this wound with a band-aid, but failed to compensate the painful fate they faced because of the mistakes we made. Nowadays they're paid to clear the government slate, guilty of digging their graves in 1788. Give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him how to fish, though he'll never have an empty plate. But these men knew the trick of the trade, they'd been fishing on their lake since the ancestral age. But their cultural space was sold for commercial estate, so the fishermen were forced to the farm for steak. But they never understood right agricultural ways. They need fish but were never given back their lake, so instead we give them fish to compensate. Now dependent like a seagull for the fish they crave, and then we criticise them for how they behave. But a fisherman with no lake is out of place, and it's too late to rewind this horror tape. The fisherman's only fate is to learn a new trade. Look up, my people, the dawn is breaking, the world is waking to a bright new day, when a just has grown wise and stronger, points the bone no longer to a darker race. True story of a boy, an innocent soul, playing AFL on TV was his lifelong goal. But his family was so poor, they lived on the dole, and his father spent all their money on alcohol. He started drinking at 10 o'clock every morning, and then he'd disappear for days, return without warning. On one occasion he was gone for 70 days, and the boy could only contemplate the worst case. After many tears one night he came back late, and the boy lay in his bed excited and awake. But from the next room he heard his mother shout, she was raped and beaten until he knocked her out. And then he heard the footsteps come towards his room, and at that point feared his bed would become his tomb. His dad stumbled in, his breath stunk with rum. He reached for his top pocket, pulled out a gun, put it to his head and said, "You are a worthless son," and then shot himself dead. The father was done. And for the next 20 years the boy suffered. He now had his own family, but he never recovered, cause he drinks all day to numb the pain. He comes home late and trades sulfate for blood stains. Mr. Vane, gripped by a suicidal disorder, he walks into the bedroom of his 12-year-old daughter and smothers her with petrol till she passes out. He lifts up her skirt and pulls her panties down, wanting to give her the love he never had, but now he'd become the spitting image of his own dad. Look up, my people, the dawn is breaking, the world is waking to a bright new day, when a just has grown wise and stronger, points the bone no longer to a darker race. Look up, my people, the dawn is breaking, the world is waking to a bright new day, when a just has grown wise and stronger, points the bone no longer to a darker race. Now we point the finger at the boy, he's to blame. We say these people bring shame to our country's name, but it's ignorant and feeble to condemn people. It's the dysfunction of our system that foments this evil. Australia is one of the world's wealthiest nations, home to highest living standards and education. But in saying that, there is an incredible gap in the living conditions between our white and our blacks. Here are the facts that have been kept quiet. Blacks represent 60% of all suicides. Life expectancy is 20 years less than whites. Unemployment and domestic violence are extremely high, and the culture once the land and the dream time is now a drunken haze of rape, abuse and street crimes. Every child starts with a clean slate, has the same fate, neglected and abused. Their soul is drowned in hate, so they grow up to drink to escape this heartache. And this is how this evil perpetuates. Our history may be written in their tears and sorrow, but yesterday is gone, we control tomorrow. But how can we unite this divided nation if our constitution preaches discrimination and is bordered by offence of colour and unequal rights? Why should black fate ever lie in the hands of whites? The only way we can stop this political war is equality of all citizens before the law. Cause we're like the strict parents who love to dictate and give our children everything they need served on a plate, so they never learn to stand on their own 2 feet, trapped in the boot while we occupy the driver's seat. So it's time they decide their own fate, or we could lose a special part of us that can never be replaced. Look up, my people, the dawn is breaking. The world is waking to a bright new day, when a just has grown wise and stronger, points the bone no longer to a darker race. Look up, my people, the dawn is breaking. The world is waking to a bright new day, to our fathers' fathers that paid the sorrow, to our children's children, the glad tomorrow.